path of Mahavir, path of Buddha is the path of meditation. It's not easy. A lot of sacrifices have to be given. A lot of commitments have to be made. A lot of beliefs, a lot of ideas have to be sacrificed. Your behavior ends up changing significantly. The path is not for people who find sansar satisfactory, enjoyable, and no need to change. People who relish in the pleasures of the society, they don't see anything wrong with their life, their behavior. For them, the path of spirituality just does not exist. The first step that's going to start the path of spirituality is a spark of wisdom. Wisdom nobody's born with. It is an inside intuition, and the inside intuitions are not created. Krishna says, if 100,000 people will read me, only 1,000 will understand. It's not the language that is a barrier. It is the wisdom to understand what Krishna is saying. And even after that, if 1,000 people will understand me, only 100 will put it into practice. Again, to follow up on the wisdom and take it to the next level, to translate into behavior, is a major step. That's like a big valley before you can reach the Himalaya, the peak. So he says, only 100 will put into daily practice. And only, even after that, only one will reach to me, the nirvana. So the path of Mahavir, path of Buddha, path of meditation is very difficult. It requires total transformation within you. But it all started with wisdom. With this intuition and the wisdom, your discriminating power starts waking up. You start realizing what is right, what is wrong, what is real, what is not real. With this wisdom, you start analyzing your day-to-day life, and you understand this is where suffering is. This is where peace is. This is where I'm getting dragged into sansar. This is where I am becoming free from sansar. And as the time goes, the vivek buddhi, or the discrimination, the wisdom, starts getting more and more and more stronger. And that's your tool to take you to Atma. ultimately to come to a state where you fully realize the power of Atma, the state of total reliance on Atma and not the sansar. Mahavir has given a word called Nirasaar. Nirasaar means no dependence on anything, anywhere, where Atma is totally self-sufficient within itself. It has no need for the outside world. And we are not talking about basic needs to sustain the body and basic intelligence to carry out the activities in a day-to-day life. Nirasaar is the self-sufficiency. All the stimulations brought in by the five senses are blunted out. That doesn't mean the sensations do not come. If you taste something sweet, it will taste sweet. But Atma, being so self-sufficient, do not see any need to follow up on that stimulation and convert into action. As if there is a big fortress city with surrounding forts, walls, and its gates, as if all the gates are closed. Outside invasions keep coming, but the strength of the fort protects the city. Same way, Atma becomes so strong and self-sufficient, the outside stimulations have no value. Now, explaining this easy, but to be practicing this in a day-to-day life is very difficult. All the difficulties come from your mind and the body. For example, not drinking alcohol. When the Atma is in its prime state, totally self-steady, totally self-reliant, totally in a Nirasaar state, it does not see any need. The pleasure of being steady in your own self, that's what we call a sthita prajna state. Or when it pertains to the body, we call swasthya, swa asthya. Whoever becomes steady in their own self is the one who is healthy. So in that state, since there is total self-sufficiency, since there is so much pleasure within itself, you just don't see any object, person, or a situation able to add anything to that pleasure. The pleasure of Atma is so infinite that adding another object to give you pleasure, it seems ridiculous. But people who are into drinking, they never understand that because they have not taken the path of spirituality and they have not reached to the state of Nirasaar state. That's why there are so many jokes about alcohol. There are so many jokes about sexual jokes. All these jokes are there because in the deep, secret, inner recess of the mind, people have desires to carry out those acts which are forbidden by the society. And it's universal. So making a joke about it makes it easier to deal with it. That's a secret way of letting out the desires. Because if the desires build up, it can create a havoc. Mind is not able to handle it. So it's easier to let it out through these sexual jokes. Same way, if we mention even the alcohol, everybody starts laughing, relaxing, starts enjoying the conversation. And it's easy to laugh it out when talking about alcohol. We don't do the same thing for water or any other day-to-day basic objects, fruits, salads. The jokes are made about alcohol. Interest suddenly wakes up when the alcohol is mentioned, because these objects, these jokes are a vehicle through which our inner tendency to let our Atma's energy, to let it out, because we have not understood the nature of our Atma. So we have been wasting energy on the outside objects into the sansar, into the material world, where this precious energy is being wasted. And of course, with a lot of consequences, sometimes not. And we have a laxity. We are lax in holding on to this energy because we don't know the real Swarup of Atma. We have incontinence of the energy. Our energy is being wasted on so many things which keeps us occupied with the material world, where the forms are there, names are there, shapes are there, sizes are there, fragrances are there. All the senses, stimulations are there. Music is there. Scenery is there. All this put together is nothing but a sensory experience. Drinking, eating bad foods, all these are the five senses through which our energy is being wasted, and that keeps us, our belief in the material world, our belief that material world will be able to give us the pleasures. And that's where our efforts are, that's where our running is, and we end up wasting our time into these activities. And when we cannot actually do it, we laugh about it. Alcohol is nothing but a vehicle that helps us forget our true spiritual self. Forgetting the true spiritual self is required for the people who have not understood the strength of the spiritual self. And since the path to know the spiritual self is very difficult, nobody wants to take it. That's why it's easy to shove it under the rug. That's why it's easy to say, God does not exist. Where is God? There is nothing like spirituality. There is nothing like enlightenment. It's all just humbug talks. And they go back to their daily life, hang out with the friends, doing the same thing. And there is plenty of company available for that. The path of spirituality is a lonely path, and it's only for the people who have the wisdom, people who have the strength, people who have commitment and courage to analyze themselves and then take a decision to go in the right direction towards the Atma and realize Atma's ultimate state of Nirasaar state, where Atma is totally self-sufficient. And Vivek Buddhi is a gift of God. It's not self-created. You can read millions of books, but you may still be exactly where you were, where you started. The transformation is initiated by this wisdom, and then as the time goes, the wisdom has to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So no one says this path is easy, but it has its rewards. So seek the wisdom, analyze the world with your wisdom, see where does that take you, and reach to the ultimate state of Atma, Paramatma, whatever you call. The words have no value. The experience says it all. Have a good